Next is A Fistful of Dollars. Now, one thing you have to say while talking about this film is that it's Sergio Leone's first Western movie. Really, I just really like Sergio Leone's films, and he does do a really good job here. The acting, the directing, the music, it's all really, really good. One problem though, it is not as good as the other movies in the Dollars trilogy. Every single thing you see in this movie has been done better in a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The music, the acting, the action, it's really good. But compared to everything else in the Dollars trilogy, it's not as good and doesn't really stand out. So I couldn't really put any higher than number 5 because there's nothing that stands out upon the Dollars trilogy. Nothing about this film is better than the rest of the Dollars trilogy. All of it starts coming together, but because of that, it's just like a prototype of what the Dollars trilogy is going to be. It's not as good, but still really good. I give it like a 9.5 out of 10 to show you how good the top 5 is going to be. Next is Once Upon a Time in the West. Now, unlike the film I was just talking about, A Fistful of Dollars, there wasn't that much to talk about in the last movie. But in this movie, it's the exact opposite because I actually do have a lot to talk about, and there actually is a lot of stuff that stands out about it. For instance, this has to be the best soundtrack of a movie. The music is just beautiful and great. It's just a beautiful movie. It's a beautiful looking movie. It's a beautiful sounding movie. The music helps with that. I also really like Henry Fonda. I really like him as a villain. This is one of his best performances. And when it comes to Western movies, I don't remember him being in that many Western movies. So he does do a very good job here, and Charles Bronson also does a really good job. But, there is something wrong with the plot and how it's made. So just hear me out about this. This movie is about this guy who plays a harmonica coming across this woman whose family was killed by this mafia guy. So the woman hires a man to stop the mafia guy, who is Henry Fonda. But then the woman starts falling in love with the mafia guy. And then there's this other group who is trying to kill this mafia. And then there's a train station that needs to be built. And I'm just going to stop there. This is a very confusing film. I cannot describe the plot because, well, there's barely any plot. I have no idea what the hell is happening for the entire runtime of this film. But does the good outweigh the bad? Yes. The directing, the acting, the music, all of it puts it in the top 5. I had a little bit of a problem trying to figure out where to put this. I just had a messy plot. Next is True Grit. This is a very simple revenge story about this girl whose father died, so he wants revenge for his death, so he hires these 2 assassins. One a very bad one who gets drunk a lot, who is actually pretty funny in this movie, and one being a very professional one, and together, all 3 of them try to find the person who killed the girl's father. And that person is played by Josh Brolin, so it has a really nice cast. And it's directed by the Coen brothers, who are really good directors. So put that all together and you have this really nicely well-made revenge story. Next up is for a few dollars more. Now, if there's one thing I really appreciate about this film that I need to talk about, it's of course that it's a sequel that's better than the original. This is a sequel for a fistful of dollars, and every single aspect of the first film is done better in this movie for a few dollars more. Every single thing about the original movie is improved on and better, and they even add some stuff like Cleveland Chief's character and the buddy cop type banter between Cleveland Chief and Clint Eastwood. That brings this up pretty high. I really enjoyed this movie. There's a lot of nice scenes in it, and it's just this nice, very retold story about these two people who are trying to catch this gangster and kill him, and he's a very dangerous gangster with a group of people. That has been done before. It's been done in the film before this, which it's a sequel to, but it just adds some stuff to it that makes it very interesting. So this is a movie that improves upon the original and is actually a better sequel to the original. But coming in at number one, the best Western movie of all time, of course, is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Of course, because it's my favorite movie of all time, and if you've seen my review on it or saw the Dollars trilogy ranking, you would probably know that I really like this movie. It's a 10 out of 10 straight across. For instance, this doesn't even really feel like a movie, but more like a 3-hour journey of these two very likable characters, and the villain played by Cleveland Chief trying to find the money buried under a gravestone in the graveyard. It's such a long movie and such an epic story that the plot doesn't even start going forward until 35 minutes into a movie, which is basically the beginning. It's still the beginning until an hour into the film. The music plays well. The music is great. It's probably one of the best music in Sergio Leone's movies, besides Once Upon a Time in the West. The Man with No Name obviously is a very great character. You know, it's just Clint Eastwood. He's great in action movies, Western movies, you name it. Even directing, he's directed some movies. So that's why. And also the great finale, the epic, enduring finale, which isn't even the end of the film. This movie obviously is my favorite movie of all time.